fasting articles. How fasting is so great, but it is not great for women, especially exercising women.
A leader in the female sports research, Dr. Stacy Sims has dedicated her career to pioneering science-backed research in exercise nutrition and performance focused on women.
Dr. Stacy Sims is an exercise physiologist and researcher in women's health in particular. And because of that, as someone who has lost over 40 pounds naturally in my 30s, and as a woman, I really resonated with her research. And so I wanted to put some of her science to the test. And so I spent a week using her pre-workout protocols to see if I thought they actually helped me to train better.
Of a pre-training meal, if you will.
If you're going to do a true strength training session, you only need around 15 grams of protein before you go to really help you get into the idea that, yes, you have some fuel on board, and also increases your post-exercise oxygen consumption, or your EPOC. So your resting metabolism stays elevated, giving you a better chance for recovery post-exercise as well. If you're going to do any kind of cardiovascular type work up to an hour, then you're adding 30 grams of carb to that.
This pre-workout regimen will be a complete 180 for me because I typically work out fasted, and I typically work out either with just an energy drink or a cup of coffee. So I wanted to give a try to this regimen that was completely different for me, and honestly, I was pretty shocked. Day one, I got up at my 5:30 time, and I ended up eating around 5:45, a little closer to 6 by the time I was like finished with my food while I did my Bible recap. And I feel like in eating, I ate maybe a little too much this morning. I did end up using a full scoop of protein powder in with my coffee, and then also doing a little bit of Velveeta to try to get the protein and the carb. And I felt like that was maybe like a little bit too much food for me. So tomorrow I'm gonna give it a try with half a scoop of protein powder with my coffee and see if that is a little bit better, because I still think that having about 30 minutes, because I started my workout about 6:30, so I gave myself like 30 to 45 minutes at least before I started to work out, and I felt a little bit sluggish. I felt a little bit heavy on my stomach when I started. I'm fine now, but I think if I'm going to eat that much food, I needed more time. So I'm going to cut back on the food a little bit because, you know, I am typically just an energy drink or just a coffee person, you know, as I'm working out, and then I eat after. But we'll see how I do tomorrow. Sorry, my glasses keep falling because of sweat. So we'll see how I do tomorrow with it, and I'll try half a scoop of protein powder and see what happens with that. So catch you tomorrow. Max day 33 in the book. So this morning, the YouTubes was nice enough to give me a recipe for the protein coffee, because yesterday's was kind of like, no, that was Monday. Monday's was kind of gloopy. I always forget that Tuesday's now my rest day. It doesn't matter. So I made the recipe that Dr. Sims herself uses, and I will put that video somewhere up on the screen for you.
So questions about my morning protein coffee, and it's a really easy way to get 30 grams of protein in without even realizing it. So what I do is I take some protein powder, and I'm going to be using a chocolate one for a mocha. I usually use unflavored, but you could use whatever you want. About 2 level tablespoons, which ends up being about 30 grams of pure protein. Then I'm sneaking over for whatever milk you want, but my preference is unflavored almond milk or unsweetened almond milk, because I don't really like sugar in my coffee. So about 4 ounces. And you stir it up. And note, you want it to be cold, because if you put protein powder into anything hot, it becomes really gluggy and gross. Then I'm taking my double shot of coffee, pouring it in there. Put my lid on, and I put it in the fridge. And it's ready to go first thing in the morning. And that was much better this morning. I made that with the over ice in my Keurig, and I just came up here and did my Bible recap and drank the coffee protein, you know, combo up here, and then I did my workout, and it felt much better on my stomach this morning than the hot coffee did. So would definitely prefer the cold to the hot. Dr. Sims is definitely right on that. So missed the mark on that on Monday, but we got it right today. In this video, let's have some fun. In the comment section, leave me your favorite and least favorite exercises. I'll go first. Least favorite exercise is a hip thrust. I want to love them, but I really hate them. My favorite exercise is the Romanian deadlift. I love a traditional, both of these were in today's exercise. Actually, single legs were in Max today. So, my favorite and my least favorite. What are yours? Okay,
I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Well, good morning, loves. Man, max day 34 was spicy. Whew. Oh, in a good way, though. It's funny because the ending portion of the workout, the finisher, was dead stop push-ups, and I very vividly remember a time when I could not do a dead stop push-up at all, and that's one of those things where I really wish I had footage of me when I was struggling and when I couldn't do those things, because I think it would be really cool to see just how far I've come in that, and that like there was a time that I could not do those at all, and now I can do those, and you know, for the most part do them pretty well. And so it's pretty amazing to see, you know, just how far I've come. Anyway, so I think that's cool, and I think it also would be inspirational for you guys to see too, because I think sometimes we can kind of get lost in the weeds with some of that, and that we forget that that's part of the process too, and not being able to do a dead stop push-up or even do a regular push-up to be able to eventually do a push-up. Like, that's huge. That's a big deal. That shows your body's getting stronger. Anyway, that's not really what this video is about. I'm sorry. So today I did max day 34. This morning for fuel, I decided to go with some real food. Imagine that. And I decided to go with my yogurt and cereal combo that I would normally do post-workout. I did that pre-workout instead because it had 14 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs. So I used Cheerios and Greek yogurt this morning, and I ate that about 30 minutes before I worked out. And I feel like I'm feeling pretty good during these workouts. I'm feeling like I'm able to push a little harder, being a little bit more fueled, which really surprised me because I really and truly thought it would just make me feel sick to my stomach, if I'm being honest. And so I'm a little bit surprised by the way that I'm fueling this way during my workout so far. All right, my friends, I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Please hit the like button if you find this video useful or helpful in some way. It lets YouTube know it's useful and helpful. And if you love it here, please subscribe and come and join the family. Good morning, loves. How are we today? So today was max day 34, 35, something. I don't know. It's Friday. Happy Friday. And today I decided to fuel with cottage cheese, which had 14 grams of protein, and an orange, which was less carbohydrate. I wanted to see if doing lower carb would impact me in any way, and see if like a distinctible difference for me. I'll be honest with you, I definitely felt a difference today. Now granted, did I feel a difference because I cut the carbs by 15 grams? I don't know, but carbs give you energy, so it would kind of make sense that less carbs equals lower energy. But I also have a little bit of a headache today because of this weather, so that could also be playing a role in how I feel overall today, because I just didn't feel like I had as much energy today during out, even though it was a lower, my brain is not working fully this morning, even though it was like a lower impact workout today, because today was the like fun day, as Caroline called it, so more like accessory type of work, did some abs today, things like that, and so it wasn't as much movement, as much cardio, so I thought maybe I could try cutting the carbs and see what happens. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to go back to the 30 grams of carbs and see, you know, again, maybe it's just a one-off, you know, this is an experiment of sorts. So I'm going to continue testing this method probably for a little while after this, honestly, anyway. So I can update you guys here in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. But I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you tomorrow. Well, hello, my friends. How are we? Today was max day 36. I'm pooped. So today is Sunday, which kind of changes my schedule every Sunday, because Sunday is church, so that means my workout is afternoon, so it is 2:30 at the moment. But it did mean that fueling looked a little different today, just because I was fueling in the afternoon and I'd already had some food for the day instead of in the morning. But to go with the protein coffee again, like I did on day 2 with the coffee, I opted to go with that as my like pre-workout today. I felt pretty good about that. I did have a little bit of carbs in some leftover nachos that I had from our dinner out the other night. I didn't want to eat a ton of that because I didn't want to make myself feel over full, but I feel pretty good in terms of workout today. Was lift heavy stuff. So like quite literally the title of the video is lift heavy. So lift heavy things, which around here, you know, I love that. So I did the same kind of fueling method, worked well for this. So I will play with this a little bit more, and I will, I'll come back with all my final thoughts and everything. But, you know, although it's been an interesting experiment to, you know, to sort of partake in. So for those of you sweetly asking about like my workout clothes and stuff, I will link those for you. I'll try to do a better job of linking that kind of stuff in the description bar for you. because quite frankly, I just forget. I get busy and I forget. So I will try to do a better job of linking those for you in the description bar if you want to match with me, because I would love that. That'd be so fun. All right, friends, I will come back and we'll circle back, talk about everything, final thoughts, etc. See you soon. So let's talk about some of the key takeaways for me from this experiment. Is that the 15 grams of protein, 30 grams carbohydrate is absolutely the secret sauce, the magic number, and no less. More than that, I felt like I was too full. Less than that, I didn't get the energy that I had hoped or that I was getting when I was getting the 15 and 30 grams. And it makes sense because Stacy says in her video that it is all about making sure you get a minimum of 15 grams in order to sort of kickstart the brain. That makes a lot of sense why I wouldn't have that impact, but it was cool to test it for myself and actually be able to physically see the impact and the results of that. And so testing over the week has really shown me that that is the magic number, particularly for me. And so I would imagine for a lot of other women, if you're thinking about testing the strategy as well. Me personally, I did prefer the protein coffee method. Like having the protein coffee method was quick and easy and efficient. And it just helped me to kind of get going quicker because I work out first thing in the morning. And so I need to be able to get up, get going. And I just feel like sitting down to a breakfast just isn't as reasonable for me. And so I felt like the protein coffee was a great recipe for that. And I thought it tasted really good. You have to do it her way, not my original way. I think I talked about that on day 2. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure we talked about that on day 2. So I won't dwell on that. The other thing that I found super interesting, and I don't know why this is so surprising to me because I understand how carbohydrates work, but I was surprised by how much more energy I had like front loaded on my day, just generally, because I would find when I would work out fasted in the past that I would be really hungry, but then I would still have this sort of like crash after the fact. Since I've been using this method, I've been able to have more sustained energy for a longer period of time, which I think is really cool. Again, I don't know why I'm surprised by this because I understand carbohydrates, but it was just surprising for me that I was able to sustain my energy for longer to the point where I used to be like a 3+ kind of cup of coffee person in the morning. And because I've switched to this method, I don't feel like I have to drink as much coffee. Like I genuinely could just use 1 cup of protein coffee, and I probably wouldn't drink a second cup if it weren't for the fact that my 5-year-old feels very passionately about being a barista right now and making me a cup of coffee. So I let him make me a cup of coffee in the morning. If you're a parent, you understand. If you're not, you don't. It's just one of those things. But it's something that, I'm really just surprised in a good way that I feel like I'm drinking less caffeine in the mornings because of the fueling with the protein coffee on the front end. The thing that I really thought was interesting is that, and again, it's not super surprising, I suppose, but I do notice that I'm not hungry as quickly after I do my workout. So I don't feel like I need to eat breakfast immediately after I finish my workout because I've had some of those protein and carbohydrates on the front end. It usually is about another hour or 2 before I get hungry again. So I guess depending on your schedule, that could be a pro, that could be a con, depending on if you have to get straight to work. Stacy did say that with protein consumption after workout, women have a shorter window of time than men. So it may be something that you want to just kind of look at and consider in terms of when do you want to, have the rest of your post-workout meal.
Yeah. And the longer someone withholds food after exercise and the greater they stay in that catabolic or breakdown state, the more the brain perceives it as being in a low energy state. So the first thing to go is lean mass. When you start telling a woman that, if you're going to do fasted training and or you're going to delay food intake afterwards while you're training, because the first thing that goes is lean mass. And it's really, really hard for women to put on lean mass. So once you start really nailing that and then saying, look, you just need 15 grams of protein to really help and be able to conserve that lean mass. It's a small, simple fix. People try it and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing.
I felt like 30-ish minutes was a good window of time for me. And then 30 minutes to an hour was a good window of time. Any earlier than 30 minutes, I felt like it A, didn't have time to kick in, and B, kind of made me feel a little bit sick to my stomach. So 30 minutes was a good window of time for me. It meant that I got up at my usual time, and just normally when I do my morning routine, I do it either laying in the bed, but I was actually doing it in the kitchen or sitting here, having my cup of coffee while I'm doing my Bible recap, and that sort of start of morning routine for me just sort of expedited that process so that the food had time to process in my system before I was ready to work out so I could feel the effects. So that might be something to consider if you're a first thing in the morning person, is what kind of pivot will you have to make in your routine in order to make sure that you can get 30 minutes time for that the fuel to hit before you work out. So that might be sort of something you need to negotiate in your timeline. I definitely felt like this worked. For the sake of full disclosure, and also so my husband doesn't fuss at me, he has been suggesting that I do something like this for a while. He did something 6 months ago, probably, where he started fueling before he went to the gym, and he liked his results, and I ignored him. So to be fair, this may also work for men as well, because my husband said he's had really good results with his gym workouts as well. And I just feel like I've been able to put in more effort and have more sustained energy throughout my workouts, so I can push myself harder and be able to, have more effective workouts. So I absolutely will continue to do this. I think this is going to become my new way of fueling pre-workout. But I'd love to know from you guys, if you've tried it, what you thought of it. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know. I'm a believer. I'm willing to do the complete 180 from being a fasted person to being a fueled person before I go into the gym. So let me know, fueled or fasted. Leave it in the comments. Until next time. Bye, friends.